So I saw both sides of life, like the worst part in my deepest depression, and at the same time, it also brought me up in a different way. I'm John Isaac, and I retired from the UN after 30 years of working for the UN. And actually, my very first job was at the UN, and it sort of saved me from my visa problem and all of that. And I started as a messenger, then I worked as a clerk for the UN Development Program, and then I entered a photo contest and I won a grand prize, and the photo department asked me to work with them, and they trained me as a darkroom technician, and I later became the chief of the photo unit. So I owe it all to the UN in many ways. My dream was to go to New York and be a folk singer, because in '68 it was the big thing. Everybody had long hair, they were playing music, Bob Dylan, Joan Baez. So this was my dream, and that's what I did. I literally came in '68 on a free passage, and then I bunked, I stayed back, and I did all kinds of things in New York City, sang in the streets, in the village, and eventually I ended up getting a job at the UN. You have to realize that you belong to both sides, and you should throw away your prejudices, and you should go and work as a neutral person. And that's why in some ways it was more difficult to fill that task, but at the same time it also made me realize how important the UN is. So I had already seen some horrible things in Sarajevo, and then I flew right into Rwanda, and that was probably the worst point in my life, because there was a little boy who I went to Zaire, where in Goma there were refugees from Rwanda were there, so I went in a helicopter to document this for the UNICEF on the unaccompanied children. This little boy told me, "You know something? I lost my mother and my father, but you look just like my father," he said. And I hugged him, and then I said, maybe you'll be my son. And then he turned around and he said, "Will you take me back with you?" And that was it was a rude awakening for me, and I couldn't explain that I cannot take him, and I have to leave back to Kigali. But when I came back, after I filed my story, I had a nervous breakdown. UN was very generous. They let me take medical leave, and I was going to a psychiatrist, and I was trying to recover. So that was probably one of the most horrible experience. It was like the last straw, you know. But I must say that I was only about 6 weeks. I was sick, and one day on a Saturday I was having a beer in my backyard in Queens, and I saw in my neighbor's garden there was a beautiful sunflower, and I was looking at it, and then I saw this swallowtail butterfly came and sat on it. Something triggered me. I just ran inside, and I had packed up my cameras and my lenses and everything. So I put a roll of film, and I came out. The butterfly was still coming back. The bees were disturbing the butterfly, but it posed for me for 36 frames. Next day I went to work, and I wanted to process the film and see, and here I am, you know. That was how I got out of my depression, and I'm here to tell the story. The happiest moment I had in my life probably was in Namibia when it got its independence. And I was there on midnight. The whole world was watching, and the South African flag came down at 12 o'clock midnight, and the Namibian flag went up. Next day I went to the Namibian schools, and the kids were showing me their new flag, and that was, even now when I'm talking to you, I have goosebumps, because it's probably the happiest day that I spent with the UN, and also I was thrilled. My personal view is that the world needs something like the UN. You cannot get away from it. People can say trash us and all of that. They can trash the UN, they can say what they want, but we need a public platform for every country to come and vent their problems. There is no other establishment like the UN. Happy 70th birthday, United Nations. I hope you live to be 100 or more. I've got no baggage to slow me down. Well, I'm traveling so fast, my feet ain't touching the ground.